Radical Radio Collective.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Ecoradio, Australia's longest running peace and environment radio show. Maybe. And we are taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week, middle of the month-ish.
It's close enough for it, I think.
Yeah. Front, middle of the month airwaves. My name is Dave. My pronouns are he, him.
My name is Zack, and my pronouns are he, they.
And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians on the country in which we broadcast. We're located in the city Minjerribah on Turrbal, Yugga and Yugambeh land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Cubby Cubby and Indooroopilly country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quandamooka people. And down south, we reach the Commonwealth, Nigaragwal, Minjerribah, Minjerribah, Yugambeh and Bundjalung countries. There is no Crown land. Thank you to No Idea for all the great ideas. Really interesting discussion about
energy drinks.
Yeah.
I've always had this I've always had this perspective on energy drinks that, like, energy drinks are so much healthier than coffee, right? It's because, like, coffee's just kind of like some shit that some people found on the ground, like, years ago, right? And they just decided to start drinking it. Whereas energy drinks, they were specifically designed for you to consume, so therefore they must be healthy, right?
No.
It makes sense to me anyway.
Okay. I think it depends how you have your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people have a coffee with sugar and, like, caramel syrup and all these, like, toppings and stuff.
Yeah.
That's obviously not going to be healthier.
But, like, the coffee itself is just, like, it's just some shit people found on the ground.
Yeah, great. Sometimes it's some shit from cats that they found on the ground.
Is it a civet, I think it is?
Something like that.
Yeah, or a fossa. One of those animals that you look at it and it's like, that's definitely an animal, all right?
Yeah.
Rather than looking like anything specific. But it's one of those ones anyway.
So, yeah, I guess it depends how you have it. Today on the show, we're not going to be talking about coffee or the health benefits of energy drinks. We're going to be talking to Eco Radio contributor and journalist Kirstyn Lindsay about their Toondah Harbour oral history project. As I'm sure listeners are aware, Toondah Harbour was slated to be basically destroyed until over a 10 or 15 year period, until enough local action was made and put pressure on the government to scrap that development. Well, Kirstyn has collected and collated a bunch of the history about that process, and we're going to be talking to her later about it.
Cool.
Zack, what do you have for us?
I've got some news specifically relating to the Queensland Museum and some of their educational programs being funded by Shell. I saw this. Yeah, so we'll cover that. It's all a bit depressing, as per usual, how deep the greenwashing sort of goes.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, well, that's what we've got in store for you today. As always, this Eco Radio episode you can find on a podcast as well after we've done it. But here you're listening to it live, so you can contribute by going and sending a text to 0420 626 733 and, start that or continue that parasocial relationship you have with your favourite radio announcers.
Yeah.
Or maybe not your favourite.
If you've got some kind of hierarchy of radio announcers, I'm sure that's even more parasocial. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're always pro-parasocial movements here.
Yeah. I like to call it it's more like a mycelia network where we feed the listener and the listener feeds us back with other stuff. Yeah. All right. So let's go to a song now. It was Bandcamp Friday on the Friday just been, and I picked up this song. This is Leon Namai. He did a song with Garidula,
Cool.
which we're always a big fan of, and it fits perfectly with Ecoradio. It's called Fight for Nature. Let's give it a listen. You're listening to 4ZZZ Ecoradio.
4ZZZ's Radio Reversal has gone digital. Since 2012, the collective have been building a record of radio theorising, organising, mistake-making, rethinking and community building that happens across this city. So, if 1 hour a week isn't enough for you, head to radioreversal.substack.com to learn more about the Radio Reversal podcast, or listen to the full episodes via your favourite podcasting app.
You are tuned into 4ZZZ. This is Ecoradio. I am Dave.
I am Zack.
And we got a text in from Llama. Llama said, love you, Ecoradio. Thanks.
Thanks, Llama.
Thanks, Llama. That was very nice.
Parasocial.
Yeah.
Bonds.
On the line now, I have Kirstyn Lindsay, journalist and Ecoradio contributor. Kirstyn, how are you?
Good. Hi, Dave. Hi, Zack. Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you going today?
Yeah, good. So can you tell us about the Toondah Harbour Oral History Project? Can you give our listeners some background on Toondah Harbour and why it needed protecting?
Yeah. So, I think leading up to 2015, there was an application put in for, I think it was a priority development area down at Toondah Harbour next to where the Stradbroke, the water taxi and the ferry terminal is.
Yep.
Between there and Mandiri. Mandiri is the traditional name for Cleveland, at the point there at Cleveland. And the Walker Corporation actually became the preferred applicant for 2015. There had been quite a bit of politicking going on leading up to that, where it's actually thrown out because it is over a Ramsar wetland site. But under the Newman government, Campbell Newman actually authorised for the Walker Group Holdings, to become the preferred applicant for Toondah Harbour. And at that point, they had proposed about 3,600 apartments with a lagoon and commercial premises to include over the water there. And this is on the shared land and sea country of Quandamooka Nation and Yagara Nation. So there had been, since I think up to about 10 years, this battle to have that site protected. And it was going to cause a lot of problems, for country, for many habitats, including the migratory shorebirds.
Yes.
They actually roost there on their way from Siberia on the way back down.
Yeah,
And,
that's the reason it's the Ramsar protected site.
Yeah, and there's also pathways there, like waterways for the dugong and other animals, where they would have to do a lot of dredging, where they'd lose all their seagrass from the dugong. Anyway, the plebiscite government, after a long fight, and a lot of issues came up, including a change in their environmental impact statement, which then thousands of people responded to the federal government at the time, which was over the last couple of years. Tanya Plinicek and her people decided that they were actually going to refuse that application based on environmental laws at the time. And because the Walker Group withdrew that application then, although it had been stopped then, which means they can't develop over the wetlands, over on that sea country, but they could still develop on land. They actually came in again and put another application in the last 6 months or so, for about 900 apartments still on that land there. There is a corridor for koalas there, and they come up with all these different ideas about, koala sort of walkways and all these things. But they've actually now, from what I hear allegedly from the local Toondah Alliance, that they've actually withdrawn that application again.
Oh, right.
So, but it wasn't made public what they were actually proposing at the time. And the Toondah Alliance, after the decision last year in April about them refusing the application, the Toondah Alliance worked in consultation with a landscaper who to develop a concept plan that would see improvements to that area, including an upgrading of that, the ferry terminal and the water taxis, which is what is actually needed down there, and not a lot else, other than, there's issues with parking, and they do really have to try and protect those the waterlands, but also the koala corridor.
Yeah.
But they kind of came up with a concept plan which was sort of seen as an alternative, but it also included like walkways and historical markers, not only for the settler history there, but also for traditional, First Nations history. So we're not sure where this is going to go from now, but while they had the Safe Passage celebration last year, I think that was at the end of April, I attended, and I'd been to a few meetings, and, I was sort of starting to get ready to start getting back into journalism after relocating back up, and I kept hearing people saying that we're part of the Alliance and part of different groups, that there really needs to be some documentation about the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a walk with one of the women from the Koala Action Group who was showing us some of the koalas down there, and I said, look, I'm a journalist, let me have a think about it. And I ended up talking to some of the women that worked over at the Dunwich Museum, who I'd actually done a certificate with on recording Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community history.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a skill set through VET. So I called them and said, look, I'm interested in putting this together. And they said, we were actually talking about this. So it took a while, and I ended up at the beginning of in February this year just starting to do the interviews. And now they're available, and I'm just trying to find those sheets. So I ended up interviewing Elder Dale Rusker
Mm-hmm.
from the Stradbroke Torrendry Environmental and Cultural Protection Association, Debbie Pointing from the Koala Action Group, Tanya Cromwell from ACF Community Bayside,
Yep.
Steve McDonald from Redlands 2030, and Kathy Clark from BirdLife Southern Queensland. I got to speak to Senator Penny Ormond-Payne, the Green Senator of Queensland, who I thought was absolutely awesome as well. So that's all been finished, and I think some of the things I just want people to know before I let people know how they can access it is that the Oral History Society of Queensland really want to hear from people out there and recordings on oral history. It's sort of like a different level of journalism, and that if people are interested and you want to get into it, you can actually hop on the Oral History Society of Queensland's website and become a member. And they have like really great workshops to teach you some of the processes of it, because it's a bit different to just like what we do and, flat out news and current affairs style.
Yeah.
But it's now been archived with the museum, North Stradbroke Island Museum on Minjerribah, and that is also accessible through the State Library of Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that point in time has now been recorded with those different people's stories and their lives, and it's very inspiring. Some people had never been involved in community activism before, so it was a new thing for them, and had sort of retired, and so it changed their life. as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to be able to gather the oral history of a movement, a successful movement for community self-determination from the beginning to end of that process. And, to be able to collate that into, accessible, publicly accessible data.
Yeah, and 6 interviews from a whole, up to 10 years of people. It's only really a snapshot, but I think, and I only chose to speak to people who were in the campaign to protect it. I didn't go there on the other side. I didn't want to go to the dark side. But it was, everyone was really fantastic. And there is a process, like you record the interview and then you send them a copy with the transcription and of the interview and making sure you've got all of that spelling and pronunciations and all, names and titles all good. And then there's a permission process, to make sure that they also know that they can revoke their contribution at any time, or if there's something that they actually want changed or cut out. Like, it's up to us as the person recording it to make sure that they are happy. So it's all part of that ethical storytelling as well.
Yeah.
Which is really important, and it's a big lesson to learn. And when people know how to do all that, then you do create good storytelling from it.
Okay, so when is all of this going to come out and be available?
Okay, so it's available now through the collections at the museum on Minjerribah at Dunwich. I've got an email and a phone number, and I'm wondering maybe are you able to post that on your page?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like Musarian, which is MUSARIAN at Stradbroke Museum, oneword.com.au.
Mm-hmm.
There is a phone number, 042234 4466. Or we can pop that on, if you don't mind, David, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Popping it on the old Facebook page. And then in the new year, after we've had a break, because there is sorry business going on at the moment, I would really like to just cut up some of the interviews and play some of that recordings out on your program, just so people can get, here's some of the things that the participants have got to say, because it's really interesting, and their knowledge for those specific areas is, really interesting and important to hear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure our listeners are looking forward to hearing those first-hand accounts. Yeah,
and learning, there's one woman that from Bird Life who'd been a school teacher who her whole life had been trying to protect country, who could now go down the bay here and just name all the birds that are down there by looking at them.
Yeah.
I think that knowledge is really valuable,
Yeah, that's nice.
A person, to look out for in relation to his cultural knowledge and his political activism, because him living over on the island there at Minjerribah, he's seeing, as you said, we're going to get to a point where we will see ecological collapse because people, still driving their four-wheel drives on the beach, and they're not caring about the bigger picture. So,
I know that Toondah was talking on their website. Is the Toondah website is stuff about using too much water on Minjerribah, and the cost that's having to the environment.
Yeah, and the exhibition, they've got a really good exhibition over at the North Stradbroke Island Museum on Minjerribah at the moment, where they've got Uncle Norm Enoch is with a woman it's about the lakes on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where those water stories are also coming from.
Mm.
And there's another really great film when you go there, you go in, you pay to get in, but then you can sit and watch these films. And one of the films is also from the cultural history of the island, and a lot of the elders are talking about, growing up on the island and how they fished and lived off country.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, I know where I'm going to have to
like-
make an excursion to this holiday season.
Well, yeah, because you can just hop on that little flyer and go over and walk up. And if you want to go up to the point or to any of the beaches, it's $1. It's $1 up to the point and $1 back now with the buses.
Yeah, nice.
So it's a bloody good day, But yeah, so I think, it's just good to let you all know now, just because we've got what we've got going on at the moment in the community. I'd rather leave it and just play out some of that content in the new year. But if people are interested in accessing those interviews and reading the transcripts, depending on your some people are more into reading or than listening, depending on your abilities. That's there.
All right. Thanks very much, Kirstyn, for joining us.
Thank you. I hope you have a peaceful silly season, and appreciate you giving me the opportunity. And I do have that butterfly story. I'm just going to have to wait now till after the new year. But I will still love to be able to contribute when I can. So
we're excited to hear more from you. Thank you very much, Kirstyn Lindsay, for joining us.
Thank you, and happy birthday for Triple Z.
Happy birthday for Triple Z for Monday. That's a good reminder. That was Kirstyn Lindsay from who is doing a Toondah Harbour oral history project, and we're going to be playing more of that in the weeks to come. Kirstyn also has a fan, Stephen, from Ascot, just subscribed. Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm sure you're a big fan of Toondah Harbour remaining a Ramsar protected site as well. You are listening to 4ZZZ. This is Ecoradio. I am Dave.
I am Zack.
And we got some text messages in from Marky, because we played Garidula earlier, featuring on the Leon Namai song. Marky texted in saying he met and saw Garidula the other week at Gig City.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fantastic. He also says, what a lovely bloke. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely bloke, staunch activist, and doing amazing things on his family's country, on his country, which has been overrun by the Adani Bravis coal mine. We also got more texts in from Lama, who is actually Julie, and says that they're Quandamooka Mob too, and that Lama is their judgem. So that's nice. Using the kid's name in the text message is totally fine. I don't mind. And if you want to text in and get a name put onto your number,
if you want us to read out your name, listener, you can have your name said over the air by us.
Yeah. All you have to do is be like Stephen, who just subscribed 15 minutes ago, and you go to 4zzz.org.au/support. You sign up to a particular tier that sparks your interest, whether it be the concession tier at $40, we don't check,
or a pet sub.
Or a pet sub at $25.
Someone was texting in earlier about their pet named after the Egyptian god Geb.
Seb. Yeah.
Yeah, they've all got various anglicised names, I suppose. But you could text in for that, or subscribe for that, I should say. Or you could be passionate with that one.
Passionate is $140.
You get a t-shirt and a tote bag as well.
And a sticker.
That's very, very cool. Or if you're very extra super duper the whole shebang passionate, you can subscribe for $500 and get your name up on the wall downstairs. And with that, there is also a subscriber prize for this month, which is a $250 voucher, I suppose, for the N Bar in West End. You can use that for drinks or use it to get some food there as well with those drinks. Also, you can have it in-house or take away with it. So, yeah, that's an excellent reason to subscribe this month, to be in the chance to win that.
Yeah.
But also another reason that it's an excellent time to subscribe is because we are now 50 years and 2 days old.
Yeah, that's right. Let's start the count up.
Yeah, exactly. Only 49 years and 363 days until we're 100 years old.
Geez, your math is good.
I feel like that wasn't that impressive.
It's impressive to me. Someone who doesn't math, that is very impressive.
But yeah, excellent time to subscribe, making sure you're still supporting for 4ZZZ. We've been on the ears for... We've been on the ears?
Been
in your ears, I should say, for 50 years now. Hopefully, and we make it another 50 years, and we can only do that with your support.
Yeah. No matter how hot it becomes, it'll always be cool at 4ZZZ.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Dave and I have both been reading about a book about a history and future of societal collapse. So 4ZZZ will still be on the air, even if that does come about. We will be the cockroaches of radio stations. We will just survive.
Absolutely. Nova gone, B105 gone, 4ZZZ here forever.
Exactly.
Like a brainworm.
Well, yeah, but that one doesn't exist forever in Mr. Kennedy's head, but...
Yeah, that's right. So go to 4zzz.org.au, subscribe, become part of the family, start volunteering, and eventually become an announcer.
And that way you too can have a parasocial relationship with people on the air. We're going to have an MLM of parasocial relationships.
Yeah, let's do it. I was on the Hot 100 on Sunday. It was a great time. I had an awesome time with Lucy from Zgeist and Grace, former station announcer. We counted down 41 to 20 songs, and it was fantastic. It's just a great station to be a part of. No matter how many problems there might arise from volunteering organisations, it still continues to make me happy to be a part of this station. So let's go to a song now. Let's go to Cinnamon Death with their song Lucis Natura. Do you know what that's Latin for, Zach?
Something nature.
Something nature. It's Latin for freak of nature.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is Cinnamon Death with Lucis Natura. You're listening to 4ZZZ Ecoradio.
Paradigm Shift's podcast is available online and via your favourite podcasting app, challenging the assumptions of our current society to investigate alternative ways of living for a world based on justice, solidarity, and sustainability. Tune in to the Paradigm Shift podcast. Just search The Paradigm Shift, 4ZZZ.
I really like that track. That was Still Full from Lunch with Termites.
Don't have lunch with termites. But listen to Still Full.
I mean, they're not going to eat my hot dog.
I don't know. You don't know how much...
yes, sawdust is it? Yeah.
Like fake... Yeah, I don't know what they be putting in hot dogs these days.
And before that was Cinnamon Death with Lucis Naturae. Or freak of nature, if you will. Zach, can you give us some news, please?
So, Comps Declare, a climate advocacy group, has published a report highlighting concerns over the gas and oil giant Shell funding educational materials at the Queensland Museum Kirralpah. The Queensland Museum Kirralpah has accepted approximately $10 million from Shell since 2015, with a report stating it has been used to produce children's education programs. The museum states that it maintains full independence in its research, exhibitions and educational activities, while stating that partnerships with with companies such as Shell are important in critical thinking and evidence-based learning. The museum asserts that it does not let these relationships influence scientific content, priorities, or public messaging. Despite these assurances from the Queensland Museum Kirstyn, Comms Declare has identified that the museum is disseminating biased information in materials funded by Shell, directed to school students on climate change and its causes. Specifically, the educational materials admit that fossil fuels are the main driver of climate change and ocean acidification, suggest that climate change and issues associated with it can be resolved through technical fixes rather than requiring systematic reform, promoting fossil fuel companies as part of the solution to climate-related issues rather than the problem, and shift responsibility from fossil fuel emitters to individuals. Ultimately, these materials present fossil fuel companies as an overall net benefit in which they are not responsible for climate change, and in fact, they can reduce the impacts of climate change and subsequent environmental degradation. The Queensland Conservation Council has created a petition pressuring the Queensland Museum Kirstyn to divest from fossil fuel sponsorships, and I do want to stress that the money Shell has provided is primarily used in the educational materials surrounding climate change and fossil fuels, so losing this funding will not dramatically impact the operations of the museum in other areas.
So I saw a report on this. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that stuck out to me was that what they would get kids to do, this is part of the educational materials, is to design new ways of carbon capture and storage. Yeah. Which is a form of, I don't know if you'd call it greenwashing or just fiction. But it's a way for fossil fuel companies to basically say, look, in the future we will have these technologies that mean that we can emit as much carbon as we want.
Yes.
So they're, I guess, indoctrinating kids to thinking about carbon capture and storage as a solution.
I would consider that greenwashing. I think the issue with certainly the idea of carbon capture in general is that it's like plugging a hole with, like, it's like using duct tape, right? Mm. Sort of, it can, like, reducing carbon in the atmosphere is obviously a good thing.
Yes.
But then we also don't know the flow-on effects from relying exclusively on, like, technical fixes to problems, right? Yeah. So yeah, I do consider that a form of, like, indoctrination as well, or at least, like, subtly planting in their minds that instead of these systematic reforms regarding transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energies, or if you want to go further than that, changes in economic systems.
Yep.
That it's just going to be more of
business as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also, I guess, imparts that the way to fix climate change or to reduce climate change effects is to create a new technology when we already have the fixes.
Yeah.
You know, it is ending fossil fuel usage gradually, and just reducing our overconsumption of everything.
I think as well that the materials in here do push that information back onto being all about like individual choices rather than these big global conglomerates that they can keep producing fossil fuels, but as long as we change, the individuals change, that is going to be the significant thing, when we know that's not the truth.
Yeah.
And it is the majority of, like, most fossil fuels are produced by these big companies rather than at the individual. But it does reduce their responsibility in our worsening climate, our worsening threatened species acidification, and that sort of thing, which we already knew that they did with things like the carbon footprint, right? That was a way to push that back onto individuals and making sure that the companies cannot be held responsible, because at the end of the day, it's, quote, our responsibility if we want to see a reduction.
As a consumer. Yeah, it's the same thing with recycling, where we go, like, we have this thing in place. We're not going to reduce putting things in plastic, no. You just have to put more things into recyclable bins. Yeah. And that doesn't work.
It's again, another technical fix rather than something that requires systematic reform. It requires systematic reform and changes in how we actually do things, rather than just plugging the hole for a temporary fix.
Yeah. But we're also not saying that Shell just said to them, we'll give you $10 million if you don't put fossil fuel is bad in your educational material. It's a bit more insidious than that. It's a bit more it's more understated.
Yeah, it's more subtle in terms of its effects. So it's promoting the idea that like, it is talking about fossil fuels, but it's just not attributing those. Or it's talking about climate change and ocean acidification, all these things caused by fossil fuels. It's just not attributing those things to fossil fuels in themselves. And it's more so like, oh, this is just kind of happening.
Yeah, this is just what happens with the Earth. Climate change at this rate always happens.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's enough grandstanding from me.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realize I was a seed.
You're listening to Ecoradio, the radio of the future.
You are listening to Ecoradio, the radio of the future. Thank you, small child.
Haven't done that one in a while, Dave.
No,
we've still got
good.
it. Yeah.
That was good. That was perfect, actually. We are quickly running out of time, so let's go to a segment I like to call the Bushcare Roundup.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds, and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
All right, kicking off this Bushcare Roundup on Friday the 12th, that's this Friday, starting at 7 o'clock, a nice nighttime thing with all the heat. Spotlighting with Friends of Sheep Station Creek Conservation Park. That's happening in Williamson Road, Upper Caboolture.
On Saturday the 13th at 8 a.m, there is the Glindemann Park Bushcare. That one is at Glindemann Park in Holland Park. From 9 till 11 a.m, there is the Bushcare at Moore Park, Indooroopilly. At Moore Park in Indooroopilly. Then from 9:30 till midday, there is some wildlife watch camera monitoring in South Maclean.
On Sunday the 14th, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, you can go to the December Bushcare Working Bee at Jean Street in Grange, and at 8 o'clock you can go to the Bushcare Working Bee at Holiday Breakup at Brandon Road in Runcorn.
On Tuesday the 16th at 8:30 a.m, there's the Dunn Road Bushcare. That one is in Rockley. And then finishing up on Wednesday the 17th, just before Ecoradio begins at 8 a.m. and continuing on till 10 a.m. There is a Gold Coast Community Beach Cleans for Conservation. That one is at Ronnie Long Park in Tallabudgera.
And that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for texting in. Thank you for our subscriber, Stephen. We're going to send you over to the coolest cat on radio, Jordan with Sonic Aliens. You'll be listening to Eco Radio.
Radical Radio Collective.
For your dose of news, current affairs, and analysis, tune in to 4ZZZ 102.1 FM, 12 to 1 p.m. daily. Only Human, Eco Radio, Paradigm Shift, Megahertz, and Brisbane Line, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday. 4ZZZ 102.1 FM, people-powered radio.